Well, hi everybody. I hope you enjoyed that video. I would love that video even if it wasn't my great grandson. I'd love it if it was no matter whose child it was. But he just showed me that he has more willpower than grandma's ever had or ever will have, or if I live to be 200. But anyway, he's such a outstanding child. Of course, what great grandma doesn't think her children are outstanding?
So Mason, I'm going to put this lollipop, no, listen to Mama. I'm going to put it on the table, okay? No, no, listen to Mama. I'm going to put it on the table. Look at Mama. Mama's going to go to the bathroom. When I come back, look at Mama. Look at Mama. When I come back, you can have the lollipop, okay?
Yeah.
But I have to go to the bathroom first, okay?
Yeah.
When I come back, you can have the lollipop, okay?
Yeah.
So you gotta wait for Mama, okay?
Mama.
Wait for Mama. I'm gonna go to the potty first.
Before.
Wait for Mama. Don't eat it yet, okay? Wait for Mama.
Hi. Eat. And a pepper. Hi! A lollipop.
Did you eat it yet?
Yeah.
Okay, you can have it now. Good boy.
Yummy.
Yummy. Too good?
Mmm. Mmm.
But I'm going to talk about this maybe when I'm saying you, I'm talking about me because this is the way it was given to me. My guides gave it to me. That was like they were almost on to me. And they just said, you know, this squatter in the White House, he doesn't give a fiddler's frap about anybody or anything but himself. And he could care less about this country, how many died. As long as he's got the money going into his bank and the money going into his friends' pockets, that's the only judgment. That's the only thing he uses to judge anything with. And he personally feels empowered because I feel that he's already had this virus. And the reason that it was so mild, I know he was not tweeting for 2 or 3 days. I don't remember how long ago it was. It's about a month and a half ago. But I'm sure they had him full of all kinds of antibodies. They probably had him full of all kinds of immune boosters, which they have now. They probably kept him. God only knows what they've probably been building him up with to make sure he doesn't get this, and that's why I think he's already had it. Or either maybe they're giving him other people's blood that already had it and he feels protected. But you know he's such a chicken whatever that he wouldn't be going around like he is and never wearing a mask. There's no way that he'd be going around not wearing a mask if he didn't feel like that he was immune to this. So he gets a kick out of running around without a mask because he feels like he is protected already, and he thinks it makes him look macho. Or maybe he's just so delusional with a God complex, he's just convinced that he won't get this, that he can just will it away from him or whatever. I don't think so. Really, I know that he's got a God complex, but I know that he don't feel like he's not, that he's totally immune from this stuff. He just feels powerful because of probably what the things he has around him, the doctors and the medicines, has probably already been given to him. If he doesn't have a personal goal coming in to tear our democracy totally apart. Although I did remember when my guides were telling me this, well, that was Steve Bannon's intention. He even said it was his intention. He said it in several speeches. So maybe that's who he's talking to late at night. Who knows? But if it wasn't his personal goal, then if that wasn't, then he's truly one of the stupidest human beings that ever walked this earth. Or either he's just being totally manipulated by somebody. And I don't mean against his will. I mean, it's just like he's just the useful idiot. Whatever somebody that he respects or whatever Fox News says, whatever they whisper in his ear, well, that's where he goes with it. But there's something bigger than just... It's no accident that he just keeps falling in one shit pile and then another shit pile, and each one is just destructing our democracy, just from one side to the other. But I know Betsy DeVos, who's heir to the Amway fortune, and her brother, who's also heir to it, I'm sure, Eric Prince. I know they were behind a lot of these rallies that was supposed to be, that popped up and crying for freedom, like, you know, was total straw horse, or straw man, not straw horse. Like having to wear a mask to protect our fellow people because we love them is all of a sudden taking away our freedom. Doesn't even make sense. It would make sense to anybody, but it doesn't help when all these other corporate news medias cover this stuff too. They shouldn't even give it any coverage, none whatsoever. But I know they have to tell the news a little bit. I mean, whatever. It's not even news. These are very small deals compared to what's going on, but they made them look like they were huge. And of course, Fox, I guess, really made them look like they were huge. This is just too much, too far stretched not to be a plan. First everybody got, not the sickness. The sickness just came in and escalated it. But is it an accident that he was trying to pit all the governors against the governor against governor? It didn't work. That didn't work very good because he was working most of them are pretty educated. Can't say that for all of them. And now with this new Supreme Court ruling in Wisconsin, they've got county going against county. Now they've stepped in and taken all the control away from the governors, given it to the counties. And the way that particular state set up, well, the counties get the say so, and so now anyway, what I'm trying to say is, before this is all over, we're going to be really lucky if we don't end up with a civil war. And I hate to say this, especially since all the bad guys have all the guns. And I felt pretty strongly for a long time, well, this could never happen because we have the military. And the military wouldn't let him get away with that, but they seem to let him get away with everything he wants to get away with. Look at that guy that was in the military last week that got up and testified something about Donald Trump was doing, the guy from the Pentagon, the best job in the world. And then when they had him testify, they asked him questions and he backed it up. Or either he testified the day before and then lied the next day in front of Donald Trump. Who knows? Anyway, it's not... I used to think, well, the military would save us from this. They wouldn't let him start a civil war. Yeah, I think they would. I don't know what to think anymore, but it's not right. This has to be stopped. This power has to be taken away from him. I mean, I can't just go around with my head up my ass and think this is all an accident. There are no accidents, and anybody that's been studying metaphysics for very long knows that anyway. Bannon said his plan was to tear democracy to the ground. And that's exactly what's happening. We all have PTSD. We're all in shock. I mean, every day. We haven't had any rest since he got in there, and none of us has had a good night's sleep. We don't know whether we're coming or going half the time. Every time we think that it couldn't get any worse, we wake up the next morning and turn the news on, and yeah, hey, it's worse. When state Supreme Courts go against their governor, that's getting pretty bad. Especially on something that has to do with the health of the people. We just keep getting jerked around by this egomaniac in the White House. He knows he's going down. He knows he's made a debacle out of everything, honestly, but he really knows he's made a debacle out of this sickness. And he just would do anything to keep from going down. And who's going to stop him? I keep thinking, well, who could possibly stop him? One thing that might put the brakes on him a whole lot, at least with his base, if they exposed his financials. Because one thing that they just think makes him so super macho to him is that they think that he's a rich, rich, rich man who's always been rich and a good businessman. And they think that, I heard a guy talking next to me last time I was out in public. He wasn't right next to me, but he was telling some woman how smart Donald Trump was because he had filed so many bankruptcies, and that's what all rich people do. I mean, and I live in California. People ought to be smarter than that. I shouldn't say that. I'll probably have to cut that out. But you'd think that the people know that's not true. I mean, a lot of people in corporations, business and stuff, do file bankruptcy every once in a while in their business life or something, but they don't. That isn't how they get through life. Is just to keep filing one after the other, so they don't have to pay any of their debtors. And the media just keeps asking the most stupidest damn questions in the world. The corporate media, they helped get him in there, and I think they're going to end up if he gets kept in there, it'll be because of them not doing their job either. I don't feel like he's going to get kept in there. I don't want to terrify anybody. I think if we have an election and it's even halfway fair, he will not be our president after that election. But my problem is worrying about the election. Just like they were even asking Jared Kushner if they thought there'd be an election in November, and that would be asking a kindergartner if he thought school was going to start next fall. What's a kindergartner got to do with it? He has no control over it. He has no power over it. It's nothing to do with him. So this is our news media, supposedly learned people. This is the stupid questions that they're asking at press conferences. Like we all need to wake up and pay attention to this whole picture. And I'm thinking one thing that could really, really save us is if the Supreme Court comes through and releases these taxes. Because everybody's already going to get upset. There's not going to be anybody that don't know anybody who hasn't died before this is over, unless something's done more than what's being done. There has to be a plan. You can't just roll the dice and see if sixes or aces come up. You can't do that. You have to, when you're in a conundrum, anyway, when you're in a pile of horse shit up to your neck, you just have to pay attention, try to figure out what we can do. Come on, people, come up with some ideas. There has to be something that the people can do to get the courts to start making real honest to God decisions, you know. Who would have thought our Supreme Court would make some of the rulings they have in the last year even? They've been totally ridiculous. In the last 5 years they've been ridiculous, but now they've got people on there that are bought and paid for. Really bought and paid for, like their gambling debts paid off. Hopefully that might change a lot of the opinion from people that don't think too swiftly. If they just found out that Trump wasn't that rich and he was been in debt for the last 30 years, and I have a feeling that's what's going to show if these taxes come out. Plus not paying any income tax, not doing anything. I think that could help really turn the tide. So let's just hope that the Supreme Court does rule against him. I really feel like that there is an election, if it's even a little bit fair, there's no way he's going to win. But at this time, I think that's what's behind this post office, putting somebody else in there and already firing the guy that was second in command there. They're going to try to make it where we can't vote by mail, even if the the House was to get it through that we could vote by mail, the post office won't be able to handle it. By the time he gets a hold of the post office, can you imagine how much he'll frap it up in 8 or 9 months? Look what he did to the United States in the first 2 or 3 months that he was in there. So I'm not trying to. I started this channel to try to relax people and calm them down, but my guides keep telling me, be honest. Just say what we're telling you and put it out there. If you're, some people need to know what could happen. They need to look at all sides of the picture. And if you have to be the one to paint it gloomy, well then paint it gloomy, I guess. But I'm hoping we get out of this. I don't even want to go into what's going to be, I'm sure, is the biggest depression we've ever been in before this is over. But I do know enough, because I did fall back asleep after I got through writing, and they woke me up and said, well, but I do want you to tell everybody that everything's going to be okay. That even if they tear this government all the way down to the bottom, that it will be built back up on a fairer structure, and it'll be better for the small person. And that was strange. It was like they were saying this is what was supposed to happen. And like a lot of people say, what will be, will be. And it wasn't going to keep going on like it was anyway. It's just a shame that we have to have this epidemic on top of it to get our attention, because that's a hell of a way to get somebody's attention, and I feel like this is just getting started. Anyway, I love you all, and I'm going to do a reading real quick, and I'm going to cut a lot of this out so I don't have to just bore everybody to tears. So we all need to get under the Supreme Court to release those taxes. They need to release those taxes. They should be protesting out in front, telling the people to release those taxes. And of course, it's hard. You can't go protest when you can't leave the house or get within 6 feet of somebody else, so that even makes it harder. But somebody has to take this power away from him, and they have to take it away quick. And I think that would be the quickest way to take a lot of the wind out of his sails. So anyway, I am going to go ahead and do a reading. Honest, I am. And it's going to be, first one's going to be on Steve Bannon. I want to know, I keep hearing tales from somewhere, who knows when you watch so much of the internet, that him and Bannon still talk on the phone all the time at night. So I'm going to see if part of his plan to tear everything down and to just do total chaos, if it's got anything to do with Bannon, with Steve Bannon, him talking to him. I mean, you know they all work together, and like I said, I'm sure the DeVosses and Princes were called and said to start a bunch of crap about opening back up, because he was, for some reason, thinks you can't keep making money even if you open things up and nobody goes anywhere, because everybody's laying dead in the streets and you don't have anybody to go pick them up, because you don't even have enough firemen, police, or even people working in hospitals that are well enough to do anything. And you just I don't know, I hate to sound like gloom and doom, but I just don't know what I just can't figure out what his game plan is, because this is not going to help him. It's not going to help his stock market, which is all he seems to care about, which is nothing to do with the little man anyway. We need Main Street healthy, not the Wall Street. So, but anyway, before this is all over, people are going to be getting better wages, the ones on the low end of the totem pole, and there's going to be an evening stretching out. I know Edgar Casey always used to say that nothing could grow and really be right around the world as long as you had somebody in a third world country that was getting paid 1/10 of what somebody was getting paid in the other countries to put car parts together or something. And maybe before this is all through, they'll hopefully before this is all through, that'll be changed, that there'll be some decent wages paid, at least here in America. Let's hope so. So let's do this. I'm going to do this real quick on Steve Bannon. What's going on with him right now? Is he involved in this? Yeah, he's involved. He's the sneaky snake in there. He's covering truth and pushing hate. Between light and darkness. And he's really influencing it right now. He's really influencing it. And he goes to bed every night smiling about it. Said, I don't think he gives a crap who dies or who doesn't either. He's the one that keeps just telling Trump something new to push out there every day. Like, maybe that's getting back on this Obamagate crap and all that stuff. But he's the one that just keeps, you know, I think he's helping with the PSTD. Did I say that right? Keeping us all so afraid we don't even... We're not afraid, but just where we can't relax till we're just so shot down we're not even thinking straight. The past influence on him were some people high up in the Republican Party. Now maybe that's back when Lindsey Graham was talking to him. I don't know what Lindsey Graham's plan was. Probably just to not get caught with his pants down. But to start with, it was kind of the Republican Party he thought he was pleasing. But it's actually Steve Bannon. Yep, he's behind this. Look at this. Look at this. Secrets and lies. Feeling powerful. Pushing out all kinds of different shit. Using the Republican Party as a cover. But he's in charge. It's funny because I hadn't even hardly thought of Bannon. He kept coming through to me the other night when I was having that educational route from God or whatever. Conversations with God, whatever you want to call it. They wouldn't let me sleep at all. God's schoolroom, insomnia. And of course this revolves around money. They want to change it all to where it's just, where more of the money goes to the top and less is going to the bottom than already is. Like a slave country. I don't know. They already had that almost. I don't know why it meant so much to them to tear it all down. They just want total rule. Where they're all over, they'd like to not let anybody into the country. That anyway, it's a sickness. It's just a sickness. But he is worried about getting caught. He's worried that if Trump goes out of there, that there's some stuff going on that he might even be in trouble. Now, I didn't expect to find that, but there's justice after his ass. At least he's worried about it being after his ass. It's on his mind. And even he feels guilty sometimes about the mess he's made and kind of wish he could go back and have it, maybe do what he wanted to do without making such a mess out of everything. Because he's kind of nostalgic for the past too. He knows he's got government turned upside down, but he doesn't totally have it shut off yet, and that's his hopes and fears. He wants to change things. He's pretty sure he's jerked it all apart, but maybe it's going to end up going against him and being better for the common man. I'm thinking that's what that's saying. That's why that's upside down. And the outcome and answers, as far as Bannon, it's just the moon. If he gets the outcome he wants, it's going to be really dark for a long time. And it's going to be pretty dark anyway with this CV and this money. We could have got out of this without going into a terrible recession, at least in the United States. All they had to do was give the money to the people. You could have gave the people $2,000 a month instead of giving it to the banks to dole out and giving it to unemployment to dole out and making all these stupid rules. They could have just gave everybody $2,000 a month. That wouldn't have been near as much as they're giving to the corporations. That money would have been spent and back out in our society immediately. Would have taken that much just to pay their rent and buy groceries. Would have kept everything going instead of putting it in free fall. But it's like they can't think past the end of their nose. They could have taken mortgage payments and for the next 6 months, 8 months, whatever, and just tack that onto the back of the loan. They could have did the same thing with the apartment owners or the landowners, the ones that were renting to these people. They could have, most of them are still paying the mortgages on the property. They could have taken it off and tacked it on the back of there, but that would have been too simple. And besides that, they wouldn't have had as much control. They just want control. And it doesn't matter which side of the government it is. So it looks like we are going to find out, maybe not right away, but we are going to find out that Steve Bannon had a lot to do with what's going on in this country and how everything was dismantled and tore apart. Before this is all over, we're going to find out he did have a lot to do with it, and so that's what I feel. That's what the cards are saying about him. I'm going to do one real quick one here about the taxes. I know it's going to be supposedly till June now, I guess. Of course, June isn't that far away. But are they going to release Trump's taxes? Are they going to release these taxes? Are they going to release? Okay, girl. I'm going to try to pick these up fast enough where I don't have to cut that off and cut it out, because every time you make a cut, couldn't figure out why I kept getting advertisements on the ones that I do get monetized. As many, and there's only supposed to be one at the beginning, and I think it's because I have so many cuts in there that when YouTube uploads it, it thinks that it's a new movie or something, because I'm cutting so much out. Who knows? But anyway, there's not supposed to be but one on the first. So this is on the Supreme Court and the taxes. Yes or no? Yes or no? In the past, they've been pretty shady, especially lately. In the present, some of them are scared too. They're going to have to lead. Some of them are going to read this law double deep, because they're even wanting it where they can't go against not opening them. Some of them are actually scared for their family and stuff, because they can see how bad it is. So that's in the present. There's some doing some deep soul searching, even the people, the ones that you wouldn't think would really be trying to make a decision, because they usually just have their mind made up that whatever the Republicans and president wants, that's what they do. The challenge is that everybody knows and can see exactly what's going on and exactly what they're doing. They can't hide this. So this is a challenge that everybody's watching them. Everybody's watching them. We got the Nine of Wands here. So they feel like all eyes are on them. So they're going to have to really read the law here, literally read the law. But let's see what's going to be good. Well, I got the Nine of Swords. It shows that they're laying awake nights worrying about it. But is this this is a future card. Is this after they screw up and go ahead and not let us see his taxes? I'm going to take one more out of this other deck here I haven't used. See if I can get some clarification on this. Come on. Yes or no, yes or no. Yes or no? Yes or no? Well, I will say this much. If we do have an election and we get rid of his ass, they're going to be back checking them out for this if they do go against releasing those taxes. There's going to be some deep looking into the Supreme Court. I don't know how they plan on doing it, but they're going to end up taking somebody off of the Supreme Court. I know Linda G always says it's Kavanaugh, but somebody's going to come off of there, and it's going to be by stuff that's like a woman judge or something, because they're going to prove that they were paid off. Let's hope it's not for this. It's scary to have them turning up right there. I'm going to take one more of these off of here. After laying awake nights, let's see what the outcome is. Truth and light. I'm going to stop on this one. It looks like yes, that they're going to release him. And it's going to be the stuff about the money that they're releasing. Something to do with a female judge or a female court or something that they're going to look deep on. And maybe that's why we have the laying awake nights worrying card in the future on this type of reading. It's probably just because they know that if they don't do this right, that they're not going to be they're not going to outlive it. So anyway, that's my reading on that, and I hope you enjoyed it. And I know I've got a bunch of this to cut out before I go to bed tonight. And I want to thank everybody for watching, if you're still watching this. And I didn't mean to make anybody feel bad or put any fear in anybody. It's just I didn't want to say anything but nice stuff when I started this channel, because I wanted to see how much I could help people, and then so I didn't want to really say what I personally have been being told. But and of course that's a grain of salt. This is just all for fun. This is just fun. Tarot reading for fun. Anyway, if any of you would like a private reading, it's lynntarotreadings@gmail.com. Get a hold of me and I'll get right back to you. I know I had one person that was kind of upset with me because I didn't get back with him, and I missed her some way on there when I went through my email. I don't know how I did it, but I went through and took a bunch off today, so it's empty again. So if you're interested, please get a hold of me and I'll get right back with you. Night now. Bye, everybody. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much.